Good day, this is Wade Norris with UP News. We're down here at Mile High Sports Radio Station, 1510 AM. And for those fans up there in Loveland, Greeley, Fort Collins, 1570 AM, you can check us out Saturdays at 7 in the morning on those stations. My guest today is the person that's going to be unseating Marilyn Musgrave up in CD-4, Betsy Markey. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Wade. Glad to be here.
Yes. Betsy, tell me a little bit about the district that you're in, that you're running for House of Representatives up there.
Okay, well, I'm very familiar with the district because I've been in the district for the past 2.5 years every day. It includes 18 counties in northern and eastern Colorado. Larimer County, Weld County, a little bit of Boulder County, and then 15 counties on the eastern plains. Goes all the way down to the Oklahoma border. It's a lot of territory.
So you've got a very diverse crowd between the college students in Fort Collins and the farmers out on the eastern plains. What are some of the concerns that they're concerned about in those different areas that you want to address, like, for instance, in terms of health care, policies towards Iraq, etc.?
It is a diverse district, and I've traveled to, I think, all 18 counties, and I keep hearing the same things throughout my travels in the district. And one of them is health care, and it's a concern whether, I'm talking to college students in Fort Collins and Greeley. They're getting ready to graduate. They've got record amounts of debt. They're hoping that they can find a good job that includes health benefits. So it's a concern to college students. It's a concern to farmers and ranchers on the eastern plains because, they're not in a group plan, and they're having to pay for the employer and the employee portion of health care, and it's just become unaffordable for them.
And your background, you're speaking about the farmers that are kind of like small business owners, or they are small business owners.
Yes.
You've worked in small business. I heard you speak to that. Tell me again what you and your family did in your business when you were in a small business.
Right. Well, I've been a small business owner for a little over 20 years. My husband and I started our first business back in the mid-1980s. We were marketing a little-known technology at the time called electronic mail, and then
email.
Yes, email. And then we branched out. We do internet consulting, some software development, and website development. So we have the company still in business, doing well. We've got about 40 employees, and I know as a small business owner the challenges of both trying to meet your payroll and also providing health insurance for employees, and it becomes more and more difficult for small businesses to be able to do this. It seems like every other year we're switching policies on our employees because we're just trying to keep pace with the huge increases that we get every year. So I know there's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah, it seems like the system of health insurance that we have now is becoming so expensive, and yet it's not returning any dividends either for the private citizen, the individual, or the businesses that are looking to be stable employers in the economy and for the state and the nation, and also to drive the market. And that is something that, whether you're a person who is a healthcare advocate or a business advocate, you can definitely look at, let's say, for instance, Japanese automotives have, I believe, the average healthcare cost per car is around $200 because the state helps subsidize healthcare. And our cars have an average of $1,500 to $2,000 worth of healthcare charges in every car, and that's why we've become less competitive over the course of time, and that goes across the board from that's a large issue with cars, all the way down to individual business.
To places like Starbucks, who say they spend more on healthcare than they do on their coffee beans. And you're absolutely right. It's making it difficult to be competitive in a global market when we have so much, 16%, almost 16% of our budget as Syscom Services, which is the company my husband and I own, of our budget goes to healthcare expenses. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So you've talked to a lot of people up in your district, or what's going to be your district.
That's right.
What is some of the dissatisfaction that you're hearing from the constituents about the representative that's currently in office, Marilyn Musgrave? Has there been some pointed things said, or has it been more they just want to change?
I believe people are ready for change, and I think there is a sense that, Congresswoman Musgrave, this is her third term in office, and there's been a lot of media focus lately that she is starting to do her job. Well, it's taken 5 years, and for her to wake up and realize, well, now I'm facing a very difficult challenge. Maybe I should start paying attention to the interests of my constituents. And, if you're in business, doesn't work that way. You're not on the job for 5 years getting a free ride, and in this case from the taxpayers, before you decide, oh, hey, maybe I should start doing my job. And so people are tired of that. She just has not been very visible in her district and hasn't been working on legislation that people really care about, that addresses the issues that we're all concerned with: health care, the economy, water issues on the Eastern Plains. She just has not been vocal on any of those issues.
And my personal high on my list of problem priorities is, as a person that represents the beet farmers of Eastern Colorado, she was one of the last votes supporting CAFTA last year, just before the midterms. And talk about voting against your constituents. I interviewed another challenger for a congressional district, CD-8 in North Carolina, Larry Kissel, and Robin Hayes was the actually very last deciding vote for CAFTA. What can you tell farmers who are asking you, what are you going to do about these unfair trade deals, and us farmers who are trying to compete on a global market when the cards are being stacked against us with these deals? What can you tell them?
Right. Well, I would tell them that when I get in Congress, I am going to push for us to revisit all of our trade agreements, and we need to look at it from the standpoint of free and fair trade. Look at what have been the implications of our trade agreements on the huge trade deficit that we now have. Who is it really benefiting? Is it benefiting small, individual farmers and ranchers, or the large farming conglomerates? What impact does it have on outsourcing our jobs to other countries? So those are all issues that I think are tied with our trade agreements, and we need to look at each and every one of them.
All right. And that right there gets her my personal endorsement. I know you fans out there who have listened to me know that I have no respect for free trade agreements, which, as we've talked in the past, oftentimes end up getting unsafe products brought to our country, as well as products made by children and people in basically slave working conditions. So we definitely need to have people like Betsy Markey as our Congresswoman representing us and representing smart trade, fair trade, things that will make a difference, not just in our country and improve our standard of living and employ our workers, but also make sure that we're not getting our products at the negligence and the hurt of other citizens of the world or our own citizens. And I commend you for that.
Well, and that's a conversation that all Americans need to hear. I mean, we are consumers in this country. We want products that are cheap, but people need to realize that it comes at a price. It comes at a price for people overseas. It comes at a price for Americans as well. And so that is something we do need to talk about. And it may, as Americans, we need to own up to the fact that we may need to take a look at our consumption habits, and we're all going to have to, this is a world community, all to pitch in to try to do the right thing.
Right. And that goes for other issues that are now becoming part of the consciousness, even out in rural Colorado, rural parts of the country. I was reading in a magazine last month here in Colorado, actually a local magazine about hunters wanting to extend the duck hunting season in Colorado, not because of anything that they could put their finger on, but just because the ducks were coming down from Canada later and later, and the scientists were saying, well, whether or not you believe in global warming, the hunters are asking to change their season to hunt ducks, and that should send a few alarms off. And if the duck hunters can see something that other people are debating, we really need to start looking at what the long-term forecast is and how we're going to use energy in the future.